Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken's Training. Today's training, what we're going to do is I'm working on a dishwasher for a residential home. It's actually my home and it's my dishwasher. That's the problem. So the dishwasher is a GE profile dishwasher. And I'm at home. There's a couple of dogs. You may hear them barking in the background. I'll show you the dogs in video in a few minutes. Okay. So it's a GE profile dishwasher. The model number, my model number if you're interested, is a GSD 4920X73BB. It's an older dishwasher. The year right now is 2014. This dishwasher is 17 years old. And I know this because I called up GE Tech Support and I gave them my model and serial number and they were able to tell me the age of the unit. If you need to call up GE Technical Support, the phone number is 800-626-2000. They call it the GE Answer Center. Okay, and for websites, this is a GE profile dishwasher. You can go to www.geappliances.com/service underscore the word and underscore support /repair /dishwasher.htm. And there's videos and stuff like that on GE's website. Plus you can order some parts right directly from GE's website. But I will tell you, when it comes to parts, shop around. I found another site called www.appliancepartspros.com appliancepartspros.com. Alright, so they are pretty friendly and easy. Put your model number in there and it comes up with schematics and it tells you the breakdown pricing, and I compared that against GE pricing and it was lower. I don't know, 30% lower, 20-30% lower. But some parts were available at GE and some were not at the other website. So anyways, you gotta shop around. Okay, now let's talk about the water level. My problem that I'm having with this GE dishwasher. You load the dish, you load the racks, put your soap in your cups, close the door, latch the door, put your settings, the dishwasher turns on, goes through its normal cycle, and it comes out. But what's happening is that the dishwasher is not filling to the correct water level. And I'll tell you how I know this. While the dishwasher was going through a wash cycle, I opened the door latch, stopping the cycle in mid-track. And then I opened the door and I looked at the water level. The water level is currently below the heating element. Now, the dishwasher water coming into the dishwasher should be between 120 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Preferably, they wanted 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The drawback is that if you set your water heater at that temperature, you could potentially scald people because it's so hot. Anything above 120 has the potential to scald skin. But if I'm coming in at 120 and the water level is operating below the level of the heating element, there's no way that my water is going to get up to the appropriate temperature to sterilize and clean the dishes properly. Now, the way that the water works is like this. On this particular dishwasher, and I think it's common for a lot of dishwashers, once you give it an on signal, the dishwasher goes into a fill mode, and it's going to allow water to enter into the machine. So it sends 120 volts to the water inlet valve, and it does this for a certain period of time. And then after the certain period of time elapses, the water level stops, and then it shuts off the 120 volts to the solenoid valve, which is the water inlet valve, and then the timer goes to the next cycle, which will be the wash cycle. Okay, now if you've got an oversupply of water and let's say that your water pressure and whatnot is so high that potentially you could overflow the machine because it's just working off of a time signal, there's a float built into this. So what happens is that let me put this paper down. So what happens is this: you turn the machine on, you send 120 volts to the water inlet valve, which is a solenoid valve. The solenoid valve opens, allowing water into the machine. And then it's supposed to fill the machine up to the float. The float switch is supposed to rise, disengaging a float switch, shutting off the electricity to the solenoid valve, closing the valve, giving you the proper amount of water level. Now, the proper amount of water level should terminate a little bit above your heating element. Now, when I called up GE Tech Support, I asked her what the correct water level was for my machine, and they told me it was about half of an inch or so above the heating element, which to me makes sense. Well, actually, the first question she asked me was, do you have a metal tub or a plastic tub? And I said, I have a plastic tub. And then she looked at her notes, and her notes said that apparently, according to the person I spoke to on the phone, if I had a metal tub, it would operate below the heating element. But to me, that makes absolutely no sense at all. But I am going to show you exactly how to tell what the manufacturer wants the water level to be. And I'll explain to you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to pour water into the tub manually with the bucket. And I'm going to go to the float switch, and I'm going to see when the float comes up and disengages the switch, and then I'll know what the water level is. And then I'll know exactly what the water level is going to be. I'm also going to check the level of the machine, and I'm going to show you that. And what I am expecting to find today is I'm expecting my water inlet valve, which has a metal screen in front of it, I'm expecting that to be blocked with rust, with debris from just 17 years of service, shutting off the water to the house, turning on the water to the house, the city, whatever. Some debris came down the line, and I'm going to anticipate that that needs to be cleaned. So my intention today is to clean the water inlet valve. Now, another interesting thing, I put my model number into the parts repair website, and my solenoid valve says that it is no longer available. I cannot get the exact replacement water valve because my machine is so old. They are supporting many other parts, but the one part that I think is my problem, they don't support. So on a worst case scenario, my water inlet valve needs replacement. At that point in time, I'm going to have to take it out and try to bring it to a parts supply house and say, I need you to get me the closest thing possible to this, and then try to MacGyver something and make it work. But hopefully I won't have to go in that direction. So I'm working solo today, so I'm going to be the camera operator as well as on the other side, and I'm going to try to show you, the audience, all the different steps that I'm going to take in order to figure out this problem, diagnose it, and everything like that. So on with the show. Alright, here is our GE profile dishwasher, and get you a little zoom in on that. Come on. GE profile. There's the face plate. There's the hand latch. You can see that up top. It's just a black face on there. I put down a piece of masonite, as you can see right there. If I needed to pull this dishwasher out, I would pull it out on masonite, because this flooring, which is a wood floor, is very soft and scratches very easily. So to pull out an appliance, use something like this, which you get at the Home Depot for 10 bucks a sheet, or whatever, 7 bucks a sheet, and I just cut a square out of it there with my circular saw, and then I'm going to work on that. Plus, with my tools, I can lay them down here instead of trying to scratch the floor. Now, for tools, I just got my cordless drill. I got a meter inside that blue case, my feel piece, and some basic hand tools inside of my tool pouch right there. And then I also got a kneeling pad so I can kneel down. And there we go. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to open the door and take out the dishwasher, the bottom rack, which just simply lifts off. I'm just going to put that in the other room for now, just so I don't have to mess around with that. Now, the float, this has an internal float. I'm going to show you that right now. And that is right right there, held on by one Phillips head screw. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that out. It's actually not a Phillips. It looks like it's a 1/4 inch hex head. For whatever reason, when I tried to use the nut driver here, it didn't work, so I just went and got a 1/4 inch nut driver and took out the screw, which is right here, and then this cap lifts off. Now sometimes the float actually gets stuck with whatever, and it causes a problem. Now, here's the actual switch. I can actually hear it. When I lift this up, I can hear it disengaging the float switch underneath. Okay? So there's no debris here causing me a problem. This is the float switch. This here is the part that's connected to the switch underneath, okay? And I can actually hear it going up and down, off and on. Now the only question now is how high does this water level have to get before it lifts up just that much? It actually only lifts up about 1/4 inch. Now, one other thing, I brought a level here. I'm just going to check the level on the inside of the dishwasher to see how level it is. It looks like, hang on, you know, it's off a little bit. The back is slightly raised up, but not by much. It's almost perfectly level. I want to get to the water inlet valve, and I want to take that apart. I need to shut the water off going to the water inlet valve. And the water is coming from underneath the kitchen sink, which is over here. Let me show you that, which is right there. Now, on my particular deal, the way that the hot water heater is, it's kind of far away. I went and purchased a separate water heater here from the Home Depot, so this way the hot water goes directly into the dishwasher as well as to the local sink right here. So it's got one valve on top that feeds the sink and that. So I'm going to shut the water off here, which is now going to shut the hot water off. And what I can do to verify that that is off is I'll just come over here to my sink, and I'll turn on the hot water and open the valve. Alright, it looks like there's a little bit of bleed through. Let me see if I got that valve shut all the way. It looks like that's bleeding through a little bit on me. I couldn't get that valve tight. I'm going to go to the hot water heater and shut it off there as well. Alright, I shut it off at the hot water heater and I got it down to a small drip. Alright, the next thing that I want to do is I want to remove the bottom plate. I'm going to reposition the camera, and it's just held on by 2 screws, and I'll show you that. Alright, this is the lowest I can get the camera without taking it off cradle. Okay, now this bottom plate here is usually held in by 2 screws. It's 2 Phillips head screws. I'll use my cordless screwdriver and take those out real quick. Alright, now let's see how this comes apart. Looks like there's another section here with 2 Phillips head screws. Let me pull that out too. Looks like my bit is a little big there. Alright, there it is. And it's taken out a couple of covers here. I'm just going to put them off to the side. And you can see the sound dampening material here to help keep it quiet. Now, it looks like I may have had a leak here at one point in time, and I put a little catch basin underneath it here, but this thing's bone dry. the water inlet valve is right here. Now the plug is still plugged in here, so I should unplug the dishwasher, which is going in back here, and then I'll show you this water inlet valve. And I'll see if I can also show you the float switch as well. Okay, audience, this is what it looks like underneath the dishwasher. The part that I have my finger on right there, that is the water inlet valve, which is a solenoid valve. These wires here are the wires going to the coil of the solenoid valve. When you put 120 volts on these, the brown and red wire, the coil in here pulls back, opening up a valve, allowing the water, hot water here, to go through the valve, and then changes into and then it goes through the valve, and then there's a rubber line on the other side that actually begins to fill the tub. So this is how it works. If I put 120 volts here, bypassing the whole dishwasher, I could just physically test that solenoid valve if I wanted to. Now I'm thinking that right here is my problem. I got the water off, the hot water off, so the next thing I'm going to do is open this up so I can take this thing down. It's held in by 2 screws. They're 5/16, one here, and then there's one hose on top plus this electrical connection. This electrical connection is super easy. All I need to do for that is just wiggle it, and it comes right out because it's a coil. I already unplugged the dishwasher, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll just put that back there for now. Now, as far as the float switch goes, the float switch, I have my finger on it right here. The camera angle, the camera is terrible on this, but basically you got water electricity going in, and it's going through this line here. Hold on a second to see if I can show you this. Actually, no. I can't see exactly how they did it, but somehow it would. What would happen is it would interrupt the flow to the electricity to this, stopping the water. Once the float switch goes up, and it'll disengage this solenoid valve, stopping the fill. But again, that high water level is not my problem. Right now, my problem is low water level. Here's some other components underneath. So the motor, which is right there, looks like an electrical junction box. This is the incoming electricity right where my finger is at. That's the plug that this goes towards, the plug that I undid, and so forth. If I needed to adjust the level, there are some leveling feet, one here in the front, 1 foot here in the back. If I needed to do that, I don't think I'm going to need to do that, but if I did, that is the way to do it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start undoing this. I got a little catch basin here, catch some water, plus I got a terry cloth rag as well. So I'm going to start that now. Alright. Not much water came out, very, very little. Now what I'm going to do with this hose is I'm going to try to just put it up so it just doesn't leak out. And I'm just going to leave that hose like that just so it doesn't leak out. Okay, now I'll leave that pan underneath there for the moment, and now I'm going to take it out. Alright, there's the 2 screws that are supposed to hold it in place. Now, hopefully I'm going to be able to see some... Okay, there's a clamp here that needs to come off. There is a clamp that holds this line here going to the dishwasher, and there's kind of like, I don't know, a hose clamp on there. I'm just going to take a pair of channel locks or pliers. These are channel locks, but pliers would work probably better. And I'm just going to pinch the leads and then raise it up. Let's see if I can do it this way. Alright, there it is. And I just pinch it and wiggle it up. And some water's coming down on me, but that's okay. And come on. Alright, once I pull this out, I'm going to get some water on me. I want to try to capture that water with this little pan that I have. And let me get the camera back so you can see. Okay, and I got the pan underneath, and I'm just twisting. And there it is, right there. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to leave this pan underneath. There's your water valve there, and we'll bring it up top to give you a better demonstration. Alright, here is the solenoid valve here. What's happening is that the electricity portion of the valve is right here on these two lines right here. This is the electricity. This is a little coil. There's a little plunger in here. When this coil energizes, pulls a little plunger back. When the little plunger pulls back, the water from the city, from the hot water, comes in here, through here. I'm thinking there's a strainer in here, goes past the plunger, and it goes into the dishwasher that way. I want to pull this thing off. I want to see if there's a strainer there, and I am possibly just going to pull this whole thing apart to try to clean it off. I see 4 screws holding it all together, holding the coil in place here, and I see 4 screws over here. So I'm going to start on this end and see where I go. The first thing that I want to take a mental note of is where the discharge line is, because I'm going to have to put this back in and line it up exactly as it is right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an X with a black Sharpie, and I'm going to put it right there so I know that the discharge line coming out will stay in line with that. And we're going to try to show you, the audience, everything that I'm doing as well. Now, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my meter, which is currently on ohms. There we go. I got it set to ohms, and I'm just going to check the coil. I know the coil is good, but let's just see what the ohm reading says. The ohm reading is 0.8 thousand ohms, so let's see, that's 814 ohms apparently. Move it over 3 places. Let me just double check that. That's what it's coming out at, 0.8 thousand ohms, because it's got a K on it right there. Now let me try to do this, and I'll hold it so you can see that. Hold on. Make sure I got a good solid connection. And then I'm going to hit the hold button. Okay. Now I can show you, the audience, exactly what that says. Okay, see how, and you see how there's a K down the bottom of the meter, so it's telling you that it's 0.8 thousand ohms. It's a little hard for me with this, what I'm looking at. Turn the light back on. Okay, so anyways, that's that. The coil is good. I'm not worried about the coil anyways. I was just trying to show you what that ohm reading is. But the dishwasher does work, it's just not filling up enough. That's the issue, it's not filling up enough. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to unscrew this here. Now, let me try to give myself a little bit of a work surface so I don't scratch the granite. Alright, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to unscrew these 4 first. It's a 1/4 inch nut driver. Alright, so let me try that first. So I'm going to put my 1/4 inch nut driver on here, and I'm just going to unscrew these 4 first. And let's see what we got in here. Alright, so we've got Alright, so you've got this here and this part right here. So there is a strainer here. This is just water coming out of the valve. So everything in here looks fine. This strainer here actually looks very clean. And let's see how this works. And then there's no strainer in between here and there. Oh boy, I might actually have a solenoid valve problem here that could be my dilemma. That strainer looks really clean. Let me pan that back a little bit so you can see that. And so you can see how clean that looks. Now, another test I can do on the strainer is this. I'm going to go to the sink, put the cold water on, and then just see how freely it flows. Now, it's probably a poor demonstration, but I'm telling you, there's no rust to speak of on this particular strainer. Now, I did bring a toothbrush here, so that way I can put a little soap, put a little bit of water here, and just clean that off, but that is not going to be the issue. I can tell already. That is not going to be the problem. Now, another thing that I can do is I can just take and clean this off, clean inside of here, and make sure that there's no restrictions. Now that looks pretty clean. That's not going to be the problem. Alright. Now, let's check to see what else we can figure out here. Alright, so that's all that there is with that. I'm going to take the other side apart to see if there's any restrictions in there. Okay, now we're going to take the solenoid valve off of the blue body, but I want to make sure again I don't make any mistakes with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 3 marks here. 1, 2, 3. That way I can try to line that up as best I can. Alright, all the screws are off. On the one that was here, I just used my adjustable wrench to take it off. Now very gently and slowly I'm going to pull this out. Alright, so that's all there is to this. Not much. Just put that off to the side. This here must be the solenoid. Let's see if that comes out. Okay, I'm just gently wiggling this back and forth. Alright. Alright, so apparently this here is the part that gets pulled back and then goes forward. So when the coil energizes, what's theoretically happening is this here is the coil. The coil energizes. Inside of here is a little piece of metal against a spring that's back here, and then it pulls this back. When it pulls this back, this, which is the needle valve, pulls back slightly. When that pulls back, it allows the water to travel from here and into this section going out that way. So that's how it's supposed to work. I don't really see any obstructions or anything. I'm going to get a flashlight and look at this just a little bit more in depth. Well, I took the whole thing, looked at it really closely with the flashlight all the way around. There, I can see an O-ring inside here, but it's not like accessible. I don't really see a restriction. I don't see anything. I don't see a smoking gun. I have not found the smoking gun to my water level problem yet. So I'm going to put this valve back together in the reverse order that I took it apart from, and then I'm going to look at some other things to see what I can do to fix this. Alright, what I've done is I really want to test to see how much water is going to come out of this solenoid valve. I've hooked up the hot water. I've put power to a power strip cord through a GFI outlet right here. I've got the switch in the off position for the power strip cord right there. That's going to transfer to this power. I'm going to put 120 volt in my black and red test leads. Those test leads are going directly to the solenoid valve. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the switch on, and I'm going to see how long it takes to fill up my gallon of water right here. So I'm going to put this here like that. I'm going to time this, and I'm going to push this, and then I'll time it and then push it. And here we go. Okay, it's filling up right now. And I'll raise this up so that you can see that water. That's the hot water coming through. And I'm just going to time that to see how much time it takes to go through. If you don't know how to work with electricity, you should not be doing this test. This is somewhat of a dangerous test. Okay, we're into it for 33 seconds. There's the water level. When it gets up to here, I'm going to shut this off. Okay, there it is. That's 1 gallon of water in 53 seconds. So that actually looks pretty promising. I thought that water valve was going to be my problem. But after experiencing and seeing that, it seems like it's filling, well, at least through the valve okay, unless there's a restriction after the valve and then entering into the dishwasher. So now I've got to see what's going on over there and what's happening with that to figure out why that I have a restriction. But 53 seconds, that's not bad for 1 gallon of water. Tigo, you can help us? Come over here and give me a hand. That's my little helper. Alright, this is what I've done. I put together the valve. It's back in place. Hook up the water line. The hot water is turned on. And I put my jumper leads to bypass the coil. So this way, once I put 120 volts on right here, that's going to open the water into the dishwasher, and I'm going to time it to see how much time it takes. This is my jumper lead set up over here. I'm going to open the dishwasher, and hang on one second. I'm going to plug in my power to my GFI. That's plugged in now. And all I have to do is turn that button on, and I'm going to turn that on. Then the power is going to go through here, through these leads, to the coil. Now, let me go ahead and cradle this, and I'll go ahead and time it and show you. Okay, there we go. I'm going to turn it on right now. Let me get my mode on stopwatch. All right, hold on. Let me clear that. Okay, timer. Okay, there's the water coming in. And when this float raises, I'm going to see how much time it takes to take this. Can't quite hear the switch because of the water coming in, but if I'm just going to look for about 1/4 of an inch of raising. Float is still down. We're right at the bottom of the heating element. 2 minutes, 43 seconds. Okay, the float is beginning to rise. I'm going to have to shut this off. I'm shutting it off at 3 minutes. Now, I'm right at the bottom. The heating element is just covered. Okay, that would shut the water off right there. Now, it's not overflowing, but it's very close. I'm going to try to show you that. Let me just unplug this to get that safe. Alright, so I unplugged the power strip there. Now the part that I want to show you, I got my little doggies just hanging out right here. What are you doing? Look out. You gotta move over. Alright, now let me show you what's going on over here. Right over here, it's a little hard for you to see, but basically right where my finger is, let's see if I can do it with a screwdriver. Right where the tip of my screwdriver is if the water level gets to here, it's going to overflow and flow onto the floor. So, and the distance right now from where it is now to there is about 1/2 of an inch. But the float right there would have shut it off. But it took approximately 3 minutes to get to this amount of water. So I need to figure out if that's because of a lack of water pressure or what the deal is on that. I got to figure out, you know, what's taking 3 minutes. So right now I'm going to put the dishwasher back on so I can get rid of this water. So let me do that so I can empty this out. Alright, I plugged it back in and you can see it says power failure right there. So I'm going to hit the reset button. Let's see. Maybe you have to turn. Alright, then I got an error code there of C4. I want to go and do a rinse hold. So right now I'm doing an evacuation. It's coming up with C4 because it's an error code message thinking that the valve might have been leaking by, but in reality that was just me doing a manual fill. So right now I'm going to get rid of all of this until it goes to the end of its cycle. Alright, here's the doggies. That's actually Tigo's food bowl, and you can see Milo stealing some food. So he's just a good dog thief there. Alright, let's go back to our dishwasher. Now, what I've done is the bottom is completely empty. There's no water in there at all. I've got the solenoid valve hooked back up and plugged in. Now, I got the machine on. I'm going to go to heated dry off. So that's energy saver dry. And I'm now going to time this to see how much time it takes in an effort to see how long it takes. I know I need about 3 minutes. So, alright, here we go. Go to stopwatch function. I'm going to, let me reset that. And I'm going to hit normal. In a minute. Alright, hold on. Alright, there. Oh, start. I gotta hit start and then I'm going to... Okay, it's filling right now. And there is your timer. Okay, the dishwasher has started up. I stopped my timer 1 minute 21 seconds. So there's not enough time. The dishwasher is not allowing enough time at the current water pressure and fill rate in order to fill up. Now, let me stop the dishwasher and show you how much water is in there. I'm going to stop that. And now you can see exactly what the water level is. The water level is below the level of the heating element by, well, let's see. Oh, It's probably about 1.25 inches or so. So I mean, it's reasonable, you know, it's below the water level pretty good. So now I got to figure out if that's the timer starting too quickly or if I don't have enough water pressure. So let me research that. All right, what I've done is I put a pressure gauge on the hose bib valve after the pressure regulator to see what the water pressure is for the house, and it's 70 pounds. Then I checked on the internet to see what good normal water pressure is for a house, and they say 50 to 70 pounds, with 70, anything over being 70 being too much. So I don't want to change the pressure on my regulator. So then my thought process was, okay, if my incoming water pressure is good, possibly there's too much restriction from this secondary heater. So what I just did now was I took the water line off of the heater, plugged it into the angle stop valve, the hot water angle stop valve coming out of the wall. Then I went and gave it another cycle, and then this is the exact water level here that I can show you. It looks like it's the exact same water level as before. It's about, I don't know, you can see the float, how it's below the level of the float there. It's way below the level of the heating element. Oh, I don't know. It looks like it's about the same as going through the, it looks like it's just about the same level as when it went through this heater here. So that doesn't seem to be the restriction. At this point in time, I'm wondering if it's the built-in internal timer, but I don't know what the timer, what the time is supposed to be. I'm measuring it. I measured it since I did a second time. I measured it. It's about 120 seconds. So it's exactly 2 minutes is how much fill time the dishwasher internal timer is giving. But with 2 minutes, I'm not coming up to my my heating element. So I'll see if I can't contact the GE Answer Center technical support and ask them how much time should be the correct fill time, and come up with that answer, and then I'll report back to you and see what they say. Okay, hello and welcome back. I contacted the GE Answer, I called the GE Answer Center to try to find out what the correct timer was, and it was, depending upon who you talk to, I actually had to call back twice, because the first time I went through, it says, you know, for questions about to schedule a repair or for repair questions, hit prompt 1. That person wasn't helpful at all. And then when I went to prompt 4, where it said other questions, by the way, the GE Answer Center phone number is 800-626-2000. So when I went to other questions and went to prompt 4, that person that answered that time was a little bit more helpful. I explained everything that I did, but we talked about the water pressure coming into the house at 70 pounds is good pressure. I made sure that the solenoid valve wasn't clogged up. I mean, but the question that I asked them was, how long is the timer supposed to be for the fill cycle? They said, I don't have that information at this point in time. What I recommend you do, sir, is schedule for a diagnostic charge. So they gave me a different phone number, which was 800-432-2737 to call for factory service department and schedule a repair technician to come out here and do what's called a diagnostic charge of $99.95. And then if he finds a part that's bad, then parts and labor to go from there. But of course, if he diagnosed the part that was bad, I could just order the part myself and just replace it myself. But I'm thinking, if hypothetically it's the timer, I went on the GE website. You can't even get, for this model year, because it's so old, 17 years old, the PC board is not for sale, not available, and the electronic components are not available. So this is just so old. I'm not even going to schedule for the diagnostic charge. This dishwasher does work. It does currently work. It is 17 years old, and I'm just going to let it continue to clean the dishes as best I can. I guess the only drawback on my part is that I have to just kind of do a little pre-cleaning. if you are, I have to do a little pre-cleaning before I load the dishes into the dishwasher. Now, if you're a service tech and you're watching this video and you have any tips for me of something that I could do that you feel as if I didn't do, please leave it in the comments section so that I can read about that. Thank you very much to a fellow service technician who's watching this. Also, one other thing that I want to mention that I did, because I had taken the water line off and I was fooling around with water lines, whenever possible I always try to come back with it after overnight to verify that there are no leaks. So let me just show you what I did. Now, so on my area underneath the cabinetry here, I left the doors off and I just made sure that, because I disconnected the water line here, that there was no water, plus I disconnected the in back there, and I just checked for water leaks this morning and there are no leaks, so that's good. But that's always a good rule of thumb. As far as the dishwasher goes, it's pretty much back to normal. I just gotta load it and use it and do that. One thing that I could do, but to me this is like way too much of an inconvenience, I could allow the dishwasher to fill and then pour in some additional water. But see, the problem is that it's got like 2 cycles. It's got the pre-wash and then the wash. So then you'd have to kind of monitor the dishwasher every time you're using it to try to, you know, make sure you've got a good amount of water in the tub. So, you know, if that was the case, I'd just dump it and get another dishwasher. So anyways, that's where I'm at. Thank you for watching the video, and don't forget to check out my YouTube training, kentraining.com, Ken Training on YouTube rather. Ken Training is my channel name. And that's it. And if you like the video, click like on the button below. Give me some extra likes, and that's it. And I'll see you later.